All right, so yep, we're going to be talking today about Alteryx and Tableau. I love these two tools, and we're going to be going through 5 steps for faster insights. This is basically some things that I go through and have gone through in order to get really fast insights for my business partners and for my coworkers and colleagues and stuff. A little bit about me: I have been using Alteryx and Tableau for about 2.5 years now, 2 to 3 years, somewhere in there. And yeah, like I said, just really, it's been a total game changer for me and how I work with data every single day. I use these two tools, several times per week at least. And basically at this point, I won't work with data if I can't use Alteryx and Tableau to do that. So that's really why I'm so kind of passionate about this topic. A couple of other things. I work mostly with sales and marketing and financial types of data. So there's lots of different use cases, but my stuff is typically around just the sales and marketing kinds of data. And so, make sure we're good here. Still good on the Zoom. Great. Okay, let me make sure I'm still logged in here. Okay, great. Sorry. I can't see the chat, but that's okay. Let's go through here. So how are we going to do this? So let's see. We're going to be talking about the five steps here. So starting kind of at the upper right-hand corner, we're going to talk about data prep. We're going to talk about data blending. We're going to go through a concept of validating before we visualize and what that looks like. Then we're also going to talk about exporting to Tableau. And finally, we'll get to automation. And kind of you start with some of the beginning stuff, and then you work your way towards the more advanced topics as you get more experience with Tableau, or with Alteryx, excuse me. And so we're going to go through those 5 steps. I'm actually going to give a demo, and then we can do some Q&A if I can see the Zoom session there. And just so you know, all of my session materials will be posted up at New Prediction. I have a landing page there right now, and then as I have all of the materials available, I'll add those there. And right now, that's a Google form. You can go add your name, add your email, and I'll notify you as soon as it's ready. So go ahead and do that if you'd like to. Alrighty, so data is super important, and if you have been working with Tableau for very long, you know that sometimes it can seem sometimes slow, and it's a really common problem. I have some kind of Google searches up here, and lots of people asking the question and lots of answers. But really, it all boils down to making sure that you've got a solid data strategy. That really is going to drive the performance of your Tableau environment and what you're working with. So it's really a critical thing. The screenshot at the bottom there is point number 1, right from Tableau. Like they say, the data engine.
Hey, Brian.
Yep.
Sorry to interrupt you, but we don't see your slides.
Oh, okay, at all?
You share screen.
Okay, let me see about that. That's not good. Okay. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, great.
There we go. Thank you so much.
All right, super. Thanks for cluing me in there, Emily. I appreciate it. Okay, great. Now you guys can see everything. Perfect. Much better. I knew there was something that wasn't going right. So I'm glad we got that straightened out. All right, so you can see some stuff here, and then as I was kind of talking, Tableau comes right out and says that the data engine is not intended to be a replacement for your data warehouse. And the trouble there is that can be really difficult to rely on a technology team, to rely on people that can build a data warehouse for you if you don't have those technical chops. So Alteryx is that perfect solution because you can just kind of take your analytical skills and then build out the data in the exact way that you want. And that's really the game changer there. Okay, so let's talk about data prep. So let's see. This is all about making sure that you've got super clean data before you even get into Tableau. And so you can see on the little screenshot that I have on the right-hand side of the screen, in this step I'm taking, or in this little mini workflow here, I'm taking a big chunk of data. It's about 42,000 records that are stored in JSON format. So it doesn't really matter what kind of format, Alteryx can really read and write to so many, dozens and dozens of different data sources. And then I'm passing that through as a filter. So I don't want to look at any empty records. I just want the stuff, where there's actual data in there, so I can filter that out very easily. The next step that I'm actually doing here is another data prep tool called the formula tool, which creates or updates a particular column or the values in a column right in, as whatever kind of logic or conditional statements that you want. And then we do some other stuff where I get into more regex, regular expression. So there's some powerful stuff and some really simple stuff. Those blue icons are, really the bread and butter of the data prep universe within Alteryx, and really make it a lot easier to work with the data and get it all clean for Tableau. Alrighty, so let's move on to data blending. Data blending is when we take our main data set and we enrich it with supplemental data sets. And so on the right-hand side of your screen, you can see that I've got a list of stop words that I found on the internet somewhere that I wanted to add to my data set and actually use it downstream to filter those out. And so this is just one example, but you can imagine if you're working with your data, you may have some customer records in one database, and maybe a second database has got order information stored in maybe Oracle or SQL Server or some different variety of database. And maybe you've got a third, list of CSV records that, with some HR information or something like that. You can blend that all together outside of Tableau and get it all 100% clean, 100% blended, 100% perfect before you even get into Tableau. And that's really where the power of Alteryx and Tableau kind of combined comes in. On the bottom there, again, I found a free zip code database. I needed to get the state abbreviations. I didn't have it in the data set. I'm like, oh, let me go find a file, throw it into my data set, and I'm off and running very quickly because of the power. So some of the stuff is possible to do in Tableau, but it's a heck of a lot harder. Once you get beyond, like, say, 3 to 4 different data sources, it can start to really slow things down for you. And so that's, in my experience anyways, why I was starting Alteryx for data prep and data blending. All right, let's just, the validate before you visualize is a little bit more of an intermediate to level 2 kind of concept here. And what this is all about is, this is really nice. How it helps you move faster is that you don't have to wait to get into Tableau to figure out that your records are that you're missing data, or you've got extra records or anything like that, that your data isn't 100% good. And so there's some basic visualization tools. There's some advanced ones too, but the really basic ones are so easy, and they're right front and center for you. So there's 3 that I'm looking at right here. Number 1 is the little icons here, or the little labels on each of the tools. It shows me the number of records that are coming through. And so if I am doing a database join and I see more or less than I would expect, that tells me right there that I've got a problem and I need to get kind of back up. And I don't have to wait to get into Tableau to figure that out. The second one is up at the top. It's called a field summary tool. And this gives you a really good overview of your data set, the min and max values, the distribution of values. It just kind of gives you like a bird's eye view of the entire data set, or all of the fields in your data. And it really helps move much more quickly. The last one is a data summary tool, and that's kind of combined with the profile screenshot that I have below. And that gives you, again, another visual to say, like, okay, do I expect records to increase in my order date column here from 2014 to 2017? Does that make sense? Is that logical? Do I see any spikes or some random dates in there, or some junk data in there? So again, Alteryx has some basic visualization tools built right into the workflow that gives you a real leg up. So it's really solid. Okay, these are a little bit more. Exporting is another kind of more intermediate level one to Tableau. There's some basic stuff in there, but then there's a little bit more advanced too. So I'll go through each of those pretty quickly here. So the first way that I export to Tableau, like a really quick trick that not a lot of people know, is that you can actually copy any data from Tableau or from Alteryx, really from any data source, and just Control-V to paste it into Tableau. And Alteryx is no exception there, and it makes it ways in the browse tools where you can just select all your records, paste right into Tableau, and you're off and running. You don't have to create a TDE. You don't have to create a CSV and then hook into it, and then you're jumping all around. You can just paste it, and you're off and running. I use that all the time for quick analytical, exercises, or just to kind of explore your data. If I need to do something in Tableau that I can't do in Alteryx, that's exactly how I do it. The second way is to actually create a Tableau data extract. And what that is there's built-in output tools in Alteryx that natively just write out the TDE file, and then you can go pick that up. So I'll use that once I know what the data looks like a little bit more, and I've got all the requirements kind of nailed down, and this is, it's kind of set in stone, and I don't need to explore anymore. I'm really just in kind of working mode in Tableau. The third one is exporting to a Tableau server. So this is a plugin that you can get on the Alteryx gallery. So it doesn't come with Alteryx, but it's free. Just go download it, bring it in. And this allows you to hook into your Tableau server if you've got one. And you can publish right to the Tableau server. This is awesome. If you work with Alteryx and Tableau, you've got to use this tool, because you can, in Tableau server, you can just set everything that you want, put this at the end of it, and it just update the server for you, and you never have to think about it again. It just happens all totally automatically, and is really, really a game changer. And that kind of brings me to my last point here. The automation capabilities in Alteryx, especially when you're looking at the server, is really, really incredible. Just a quick story. When I was at a Tableau conference last year in Austin, Texas, and I was with a few colleagues, and they're looking for Wi-Fi signals. They've got to run their jobs. They're waiting for this. They're waiting for that. They're trying to email back and forth with business partners. And I had kind of forgotten how good I had it with Alteryx is serving as the automation point for me, because I had everything up and running on the server, and I'm sending out emails to my business partners. I'm updating my Tableau dashboards. I'm doing all the stuff that I need to do, and it's all happening just 100% set it and forget it. I didn't even have to think about it the full week, and I could focus on the conference. And so that was really a big deal for me. So I don't know if I can see the chat feature. Let me see here. Super. I should see the Q&A. Perfect. Here's chat. Awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead and type in the chat box. I've got it open now, so that's great for me. And I want to see which of these topics is most relevant to you. The data prep, the data blending. So go 1 through 5. Which one kind of resonates the most with you? Okay. Super.
Brian, while the folks are thinking about that, you've got 2 questions in the Q&A. So sure. One is, what are your thoughts on Maestro? Yeah. And the other is, what do you have experience with Tableau, with the Tableau project Maestro? If you do, how does it compare to Alteryx? The beta version was just released.
Yeah, absolutely. I have used the beta version and got a good preview a couple of months ago before it was released for public. So I've been looking at it for a little while, and I think it's a great tool. I think it's definitely a step in the right direction, something that needs to happen. And the way I look at it, though, is that Alteryx has got such a leg up, in my opinion, because it's been doing it for a lot longer, and it's definitely the bread and butter. It's really the strong feature set of Alteryx. Just like Alteryx has some visualization capabilities, even though just because Tableau now has some data blending and data prep, and they're pretty good, but it's not going to match, in my opinion, what you're going to see in Alteryx for several years. The other thing I'd say is that Maestro is a separate product from Tableau, so it's not like it's part of Tableau. It's like a standalone tool still. So that's kind of another. If it was more fully integrated, that would probably bring it up a couple of notches. But for me, where it's still a standalone tool, and not probably as good or as mature of a product as Alteryx, that's kind of my thoughts on that. Good question.
Awesome, thanks.
Yep. Okay, great. So let's see if I can move to. Great. So a lot of data prep and data blending, so happy to see that. Let's move into I think, Emily, this was scheduled to go for about 20 minutes, and we're just about up at time. Is that something I can kind of go over, or should I kind of wrap it
Yeah,
up
you
here?
can go over for probably
Okay.
3 more minutes. I'm sorry. You're at, yeah, you can go for about 5 or so more minutes.
Okay.
All right,
All right.
thanks.
Well, I'll just give kind of a demo, and we'll see how far I get. So what I wanted to do here, it was actually kind of go all the way through, and maybe I'll kind of include this in the blog or something like that. I'll go through, as kind of a follow-up item here. But I did want to create something in real time here, and just to kind of show you how it works. So enough kind of talking here. I'm just going to get right into it, so you can see the requirements. We're going to build a quick East Region dashboard, and so just getting rid of that little comment box. So this is Alteryx right here. And what I'm going to do,
Brian, your slides are still showing, so you need to
okay,
make sure you're showing your program.
got it. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, cool. So now you're looking at Alteryx here, and we're going to build a sales region, an East region sales dashboard in Tableau. And as I mentioned, maybe I'll do this as kind of a follow-up here, since we're kind of running out of time, which is totally okay. And so what I'm going to do is I'll just show you real quick. We're going to bring in some sample data. I can just drag and drop. I don't have to import or anything like that. I'm going to bring in my orders data. And then I'm actually going to bring in the same spreadsheet, but I'm going to pick a different tab this time. It's a people tab. And the next thing I'm going to do is, since I'm looking at the East region only, I'm going to filter that data down to my region, and I'm going to pick East. So that'll work, and I'll just get the East region data. And then I'm going to join up these two. So this, now we're talking about the data blending. So you can see that it automatically lines up there with the left join. And this information, just so you can see what's in there, we have a person, like a sales manager or something like that, that's accountable for the East region. And so if I come in here and what column do I want to join on? Well, let's join on region, since they exist in both there, and you can see that Alteryx picks it right up, nice and easy. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a select tool. So this just lets you kind of look at the data that you want. You can select or unselect these columns. You can rename them. You can change the data type. Very handy for your data prep needs. I know that I don't need my row ID, and I don't need any shipping information because we're really talking about sales in this scenario. So I'm going to delete that as well. And that should do it as far as kind of the data prep. Again, this is just a kind of a quick example. So to actually export to the TDE, what we're going to do is just drop an output data tool on here. Let's go ahead and pick a file, East region sales data. Let's drop a 2 on there because I'm not sure if I already have that one there or not. I like to change this up from the output options just to create or overwrite if it does exist. That's like one little trick. I wish they did that by default, but they don't. Now we just hit run. And in just a few seconds, we'll have our TDE that's produced, which can fly right into Tableau. And there you go. Let's go ahead and find that TDE quick in just a minute. There it is. You can see the little 2 dropped on there. So I'll just open this up, look at my data. You can see all the columns. You can see I brought in region, and you can see I brought in person. That was from that data blend. You can, in a second here, we'll see that only East data exists. So if I just double click on these to create a quick map, bring state into my colors, change that to a map, a filled map. So you can see that very quickly. I have just the East region. There's no California, no Alaska, just the East regions listed in there. If we bring in person, drop that onto label, you can see Chuck McGee is the manager. Let's actually bring this in too. And then let's also bring in sales to show a sum of sales. So you can see how quickly that came along just by using Alteryx to prep that data before I got into Alteryx.
Hey, Brian, we're
Yep.
still seeing your workflow in Alteryx and not the output of that. And then there was also another question about, can a full outer join be done in Alteryx?
Okay, sure. Sorry again for the screen share stuff, but I just basically went through the step-by-step process there to build out the view that you're looking at right here. Sorry about that. But to talk about the outer join, the full outer join, I believe the way that you do that is by just joining up all three of these data sources, and in combination with a union tool, So this is a very, very, very common thing that you do where you bring in all of your joins, and this would give you your full result set. So it's this 1-2 punch right here. You can't see that, I'm sure, because I didn't share properly, but we'll just do that real quick. And it's this combination right here, this join plus the union, where you bring in all three of the join methods into one union tool, and that's the way that you get all of your results into one data workflow tool.
All right.
Okay. So yeah, that's it. Thank you very much, everyone, for the questions and for the interaction, and thanks, Emily, for the time.
Yeah, thank you so much. And this is going to be available on your website at New Prediction. Is that right?
Yep, that's correct. Let me just share that real quick.
Yeah.
So I've got a landing page up there right now with a form, if you can see that, and go ahead and put your name, put your email in there if you want to get the slides or get the Alteryx workflow files and all that kind of stuff when they become available.